Hey, this is Rachel from Greater Greens, and today we're going to talk about aquaponics. So the first question you might ask is, why aquaponics? Why do we have this 6,000 square foot aquaponics greenhouse here on our farm? The goal is to provide tomatoes, peppers, microgreens, and lettuce to you throughout the entire year. This allows us to maintain a controlled atmosphere and environment to be able to grow these plants even in negative degrees outside. It's really cool. You'll have snow outside and it'll be perfectly warm, 70 degrees inside the greenhouse. So it's nice to work in the winter. So aquaponics is how I got into it. Was a book by Amanda Little, The Fate of Food. She really caught my attention when she talked about how right now we're in a bipartisan issue where we're trying to figure out where we're going to take this food revolution. Are we going to de-invent? Are we going to go back to how our grandparents farmed, where they produced quality food, but not at the quantities, maybe to potentially feed a population that we're going to have in the next 20, 30 years? Or do we reinvent or take technology and incorporate it into farming? And that's one thing that aquaponics does, is we kind of reinvent aquaponics. It's been around for thousands of years. They've done it on a large scale in China with carp in rice fields, with flood irrigation, but it hasn't really been at this level in a greenhouse, in a controlled atmosphere, in a cold climate up until recent years. You have fish, and then you have plants and bacteria. You have to have all three of those things in order to have it. Why aquaponics over hydroponics is that aquaponics is a symbiotic relationship between all three of those things, and it's a closed loop system essentially, besides the fish feed and other nutrients that are added. So it's a much more sustainable option, and you also get fish out of it as well. So how it works is the fish, their waste is eaten by the bacteria. The bacteria convert that waste into readily available nutrients for the plants. And so the plants will actually help filter the fish system. So instead of having an aquaculture system on its own, you've got this whole system together relying on each other to function. So what we do here at Greater Greens is we have aquaponics, and we also use our fish water to feed our plants outside in the field as well, to help incorporate bacteria into those plants. But those plants, the plants in the greenhouse, are not going to have the immune system that the plants outside would have. So we have to be very careful in this system to maintain an organic system, not to allow pests or other diseases to come into the greenhouse. In order to have an aquaponic system, it has to be organic, because you can't add anything really, otherwise the fish would not be surviving. So that's how you would know that an aquaponic system is typically going to be organic, because in order to maintain that diverse climate or that symbiotic relationship, you have to keep it very clean. So where would aquaponics be useful in the world? In areas where there's brownfield sites, where the soil actually cannot be used to grow plants. You can have a system like this in areas where there's desertification, where you just don't have the right climate to grow plants, or in areas like ours where we want tomatoes and peppers and lettuce in the middle of January. You can also incorporate greenhouses into that location